Hey team, hope you're good. So today I was going to do a walk and talk, but it is raining for the first time in Florida in a little bit of time, and I wanted to do a podcast that is all around coaches who really want to scale to great heights through Facebook ads. That sounds like an obvious thing, but a lot of coaches want to see more leads and sales than they have seen previously. A lot of coaches want to, no longer have the feast or famine. Some leads come through organics and the next week they get nothing whatsoever, and they're kind of like, where's the next lead and sale always coming from? And they want to solve that problem. And to be honest, in most cases that's like the first port of call, is to get consistency of leads and sales, more leads and sales than you've ever seen into your coaching business. That's the shortcut of utilizing ads. But for coaches who have really big ambitions on how to take their coaching business to great heights, and we're talking about the 50, 60, 70, 80k months and so on and so forth, so that they can scale to very deep multi-six figures, 7 figures, maybe even above into multi-7 figures, then I want to walk through a 3-step system here that I would implement into any coaching business. I literally just did implement into a coaching business, and the results were absolutely incredible. So if anybody follows me here on socials, then you might have seen that I shared Darren, one of my one-to-one clients. I don't do done for you, but it's basically our coaching program, but delivered in a one-to-one format with like personal access to myself. And Darren already had a good coaching business. He's already anywhere between 30 to 50k a month inside his coaching business most commonly. And when he came to me, he was already spending thousands and thousands on ads, somewhere in the region of 8 to 10,000 a month on ads. So when he came to me, he wanted to aggressively scale his coaching business, and so we went through a 3-step process to make that happen. And by the way, when I said he was already doing 30 to 50k a month inside his coaching business, in the first month of working together, he just did 123k cash collected, not contracted, 123k cash collected through advertising. And that was with us getting the right ad strategies built for him within the first week, working very closely together and aggressively scaling into it. And it started this month, going into April, with him sending me a message saying great start to the month, 10k first day. So who knows where we could end up as we go into the close of month 2 of working together in close capacity. But the system here is very simple, but I'm going to go into the detail of how it works for coaches who want to scale quite aggressively. So the first step here is that you need specification. Okay, there's many ad strategies out there. I know that every guru out there says there's only one way to run ads, and it's one system to run ads, and it's one way to acquire clients, and it makes their business very scalable. But they know that they're putting into the hands of many coaches an ad strategy that literally can't work for everybody. I mean, for instance, with Darren, it's not just about the fact that he has a different coaching business from other coaches out there, and he has a different niche from other coaches out there, and a different product, and at different price points. But even the people who are going to be on the receiving end of the ads are completely different. Okay, so he's in a high skepticism market, so there's only certain strategies that can work for Darren. He sells a product that is anywhere between 1k and 3k depending upon the product, so that again determines the type of strategies that we would choose for him. And many of these things have to come into it before we really lean in to an ad strategy for any coach that we work with. We have to identify the perfect ad strategies just for them. So you have to find the ones that are absolutely perfect for you, your market, your price point, your niche, everything in between. If you've been following our channel for any length of time, I talk about so many different variations of what's working right now. And of course, we do 20 to 30 minute free ad strategy sessions, literally without a pitch on the end of them, unless you want to talk about our product, where we help you cherry pick and understand the perfect ones for you, your market, your price point, etc. I'll put a link down below in case you want to go and grab one of those. But specification is the key. Before anything else, before scaling, before optimizing, before any of these things, the key thing that you need is specification of the perfect ad strategies just for you. So in Darren's case, being a high skepticism market, We had to lead with things that could warm up the audience before offering them an opportunity to get their credit card out and exchange cash in exchange for coaching services. And so being super direct and, hey, do you want this? Then here's how you can buy it. Instead, getting people to go through things like long form VSL, so they have to watch a long video before a button will even appear so that they can go through and take further action. Or getting people to get into conversations utilizing Messenger, utilizing automations and conversations through WhatsApp as well off the other side of the advertising. Many of these things are really, really important in high skepticism markets, because a conversation can make somebody feel heard, can vibe with them, can overcome objections, can ask the right questions to find out what are the real pain points and what are your biggest concerns about working with me. Conversations can be incredible, and there's many different ways to do it, from running messenger ads through to generating followers directly from we've got a 3x reel strategy, for instance, which is typically getting followers anywhere between 20 pence and £1, or 20 cents and $1 ish per new follower, which means that for £10 you could get anywhere between 10 to 15 new followers per day, which is like permission marketing. They can't follow you by mistake. They see your high value piece of content, which is the key to this, by the way, which is high value content. And then on the other side of it, they can't hit the follow button by mistake. They have to hit visit profile, so they have to choose to do that after seeing the piece of content. They go through, they'll probably read your bio, they'll then probably absorb another couple of pieces of content before making the decision to consciously follow. That's somebody who is problem aware, who is seeking out a solution in that very moment, and it's borderline permission marketing, as Seth Godin puts it in his incredible book that I read back in the day, 12 years ago or something, and absolutely loved it. And so when you open up conversations with them, the abundance of opportunity that you have on a day-to-day basis with really, really high quality leads is quite incredible. And so that's another way outside of messenger ads that you can start conversations. It's another thing that we did with Darren as well. And that brings me to point number 2, which is diversification. So what we did was we didn't want to just set up like the perfect ad strategy, inverted commas, for Darren. We wanted to have multiple sources of leads and sales happening inside his business, because he already told me he wanted to get to 6-figure months, right? And our target initially was like to get him there within 2 or 3 months of working together, and we absolutely smashed it in the first month of working together. But part of it is the strategy that we put in front of him, and second of all was his acceptance of our quite aggressive ways of scaling that we suggested to him. He was basically like, I've followed you for such a long period of time, I know lots of people that have worked with you. He was like, you tell me and I do. And I was like, tremendous, right? Well, let's really put the foot on the gas here. So that second part there, diversification, we had messenger ads running, we had the 3x reel strategy running and optimizing and scaling for different pieces of content. We had direct to VSL, which was a long form VSL that people had to watch, understand the process, understand the people that he'd worked with in the past, and many other bits and pieces. And then we had a fourth thing there as well, which was opt-in to masterclass. So it wasn't a live masterclass, you could say it's like a pre-recorded training. It wasn't pulling the wool. It's not one of the miraculously this webinar starts in like 3 minutes time. It wasn't like that. It was a very upfront, again I said, high skepticism market. And I always get asked that question by people, like, should you not use the automated ones, the ones that say like, oh, there's randomly a webinar starting in 3 minutes or 5 minutes time? And I'm always like, look, unless you're in like the lowest skepticism market of all time, it's not even going to work in this day and age. If it's in a very low skepticism market, there's still going to be people within it that realize bits and pieces about how it's it's all staged and things like that. You're instantly going to lose trust. So in a world where high skepticism markets, it's almost like, I would say that there was like low skepticism, sort of like you would say average, and then high skepticism. If we were to look at high skepticism and low skepticism markets, I think everything moved up one. So the low skepticism markets are now somewhere in the middle, a little bit more skeptical, and then the people that are in the high skepticism markets, they're at a point now where skepticism is so high Even, the majority of people, like, we're absolutely jam-packed with calls all the time, and there's multiple, myself plus other coaches who are taking these calls at any given moment. Whenever we're on calls, most typically there's multiple coaches in different places of the world all taking coaching calls at the same time. But when we're on these calls, so many people will jump on the call with us, will go through an ad strategy that's perfect for them. They'll say things like, I've never been this clear. I can't believe that I got more from this 15 minutes of chatting to you than I did in a year or 18 months inside this mentorship where I got nothing. But then when we talk about the product and the service, there's most typically, this is a weird thing to say, but very often people are confused by our pricing structure because it is a lot less than they've paid elsewhere in other mentorships, even though they can see that the wins that we share are not only much bigger than the other mentorships and masterminds, but the frequency and abundance that we share on a day-to-day basis is just completely night and day. So when we're charging less, it's almost like what's happening here, but it's just what we deem as fair pricing. We don't want it to be like people invest with us and their reason for growing their business is to be able to pay our fees. It's like, no, we want everybody to win long term, and we want people by choice to work with us for a long time. That's also why all other mentorships for the most part do 12 or 18 month contracts. An 18-month contract is a strategy in which a mentorship has a very low retention rate for clients who are outside of contract, whereas we do a very short contract, if you will, but it's very short, and then it goes into monthly rolling. And the reason why it goes into monthly rolling is because we have such a high retention rate by choice of the people who work with us, so we don't need to have a really high barrier to entry. But anyway, the thing that we most commonly hear from people is, this all sounds amazing, I followed you for a long time, I did your live masterclass, I went through this course, I did this with you, I've been on this call. Like, all of those things come into play here. And then they'll say that the thing that's stopping me taking action is just the fact that I've been burnt 3 times, right? And they'll tell me about this mentorship and that mentorship and that mentorship. And so what I'm seeing is that the market is being so educated now through what they've done and the action that they've taken, and probably the people that they've spoken to also, that skepticism in the market has significantly gone up. And I'm talking about if you sell fitness coaching, business coaching, or something in the middle, run while growing your business, if that would be in the middle, then the skepticism is just going absolutely through the roof. So in terms of the strategies that work for high skepticism markets, I think they're having to become, number one, more specific for the industries in which there is high skepticism. But second of all, for those industries that typically didn't have high skepticism, a lot of those more direct strategies that felt more seamless to get leads and sales, those ones are going to die out, because leading with value, what we've done since inception of coaching, and really impacting people through long form video, through live masterclasses, through 5-day live events that were totally free, and literally when we always did the 10 plus leads challenge, getting people real coaching clients completely for free. Melanie, who I work with right now, for instance, who's a client of mine in Australia, who's absolutely incredible, amazing human being, an amazing coach. She came through a completely free 5-day challenge and made £62,000 of coaching sales. Do you know what I mean? So leading with value is becoming more and more important through everything, and with Facebook advertising that stays constant as well, right? So that was a bit of a tangent. Number 2 there is diversification. So if you really want to scale up, you don't want to be at the you don't want to be in a position where you're reliant on just one ad campaign, which can have a down day and it can have a down week. Not in the sense of that it would lose money, but let's say like with Darren's ads, we were getting such an exceptional ROI at a very high ad spend, but there could be a campaign that has like a 13x return at a high ad spend, and then the next week it might go all the way down to like a 5 or 6x return, right? So it's not that he's making a loss, but if we want to stay consistent with the very high months, we need diversification, so that if that goes down in terms of ROI, there's another campaign there that's having a disproportionate successful week, right? So you need the two to be working together. So you've got specification, you've got diversification, and then thirdly, you need to be able to optimize and scale. And in the case of this video, you need to be able to scale aggressively, okay? So not only because I know coaching businesses and ads very well, so I'm very confident for the coaches who are willing to do so, to go in a little bit harder with how we start things off, because we can choose the perfect ad strategies for them. We give them all the templates that they need for the images, the copy, etc. I'm going to audit every single piece before it's ever even put through approval by Facebook. So we know that we're going to hit the nail on the head the majority of the time right from the start, even before we optimize. So with somebody like Darren coming in, especially with me being able to do an ads review of what was already doing well for him and use that as inspiration also, with that we could start at quite a high budget. However, the really key piece of the puzzle here to take things to the next level is him sending me an ad review every 2 to 3 days, and being able to look through the ads and say, so this is what's working, this is what's not working, this is what we're turning off, this is what we're tweaking, and this is how we are going to scale. That can be nothing more than a 2-minute video from Darren, but it can be, you know, a 3-minute video reply from me going, you see at this point of the video where you showed this in campaign number 2, I want you to just flick the switch off here, because it's pulling down the results of the campaign, so we want all the budget to go elsewhere. You see that bit there? That's working in every single ad set. That image is working in every single ad set. So I want you to go and create an image that is akin to this, but I want you to change the words on it to this. So it's like being able to give that level of specification in terms of feedback, so that we're optimizing, because number one is, like, if you've got a 5x return, don't just go, wow, 5x return is better than you know, almost anybody out there who's running ads, and, you know, I sort of throw it against the wall and see what sticks with. But that 5x return, instead, you could have that at a 12x return, you could have it at a 17x return by some small tweaks here and there. So don't just romanticize that things are going well and start scaling. Optimize, still optimize for sure. But aggressively scaling, this is something that I really want to point out, because this can massively slow people down, especially if you're like somebody like Darren, who wants to hit multi-six figure months, I should say, and hit multi-7 figures, which is his goal of working with us, is have a multi-7 figure year. If you want to be able to do that, then going along Facebook's recommendation for scaling, which is no more than 20% increase in budget every 72 hours. We have done extensive testing on this, and we have not found it in evidence that that actually has a better ROI than more aggressively scaling, right? So especially if you already have a very good ROI. If you have a campaign that's mildly profitable, I wouldn't be doubling the ad spend. However, when you've got an ad campaign that's got a 7.2x return, I would. Okay, and that's what we did with Darren, was to have that diversification around very specific ad strategies. But when we had those excellent ROIs flying in, it was like, well, we don't want 5k days, we want the 10k days. So how are we going to do that? Well, we need to double the volume of opportunity, and it can literally be, even at his level, as simple as, so these campaigns right here, we're going to 2x the ad spend on them, right? All the ones that were the most successful, okay? And so if you want to take things to a whole new level inside your coaching business and take the shortcut through ads, number one, but you don't want to have a bigger month than you had last month, you want to disproportionately grow your coaching business, this is the route to do so. It's about that specification. It's about diversifying and not having just one ad strategy. This is, of course, when you're starting out, one ad strategy can be okay, but certainly as you scale further, having multiple ad strategies that are all working well for you is how you scale without having yo-yos at the top, okay? And then that third point there as well, about optimizing and aggressively scaling where great results are already occurring, is so important. And I'll give you a bonus like 4th step here as well, because this gave us an extra, like, I don't know, 20 to 25k of sales at the end of the month as well. I was pointing out to him that we have this incredible opportunity to go back to every single person who applied that month, and also strategically 4 months ago, because then this becomes something that he can do every single month and double the amount of people he can send this to. He wants to send an end of month offer that's for a small number of people that can get their hands on this, make it authentic, all of those good things, but give them something that's quite special, but there's a time limit around it. So we built out an offer that he could send to every single person who applied that month, but also exactly in the month 4 months ago, so that next month he can do everybody that applied in April, but also 4 months ago, which would be the next month, and it doubles the volume of opportunity that he could send out. And he sent it out just as an SMS to everybody, sent them to a landing page where the offer was, and he had people without sales calls directly going through and buying and adding that extra 20k plus. I don't know the exact number, which again was very meaningful to the end of month stat. So that would be my bonus ball, which is what we do with everybody that we work with. People come to us for ads because we're the best at ads, but we also have absolutely tremendous follow-up strategies, super spike offers, daily content, email marketing and things like that to further optimize the entire system, build incredible stability in coaching businesses, and get, of course, incredible results with it that we share daily across socials, stories, emails, and everything in between. But other than that, hope that this has been valuable to you. Of course, if it has been, then as usual, hit like, hit subscribe, comment down below if you're a really good human. Let me know some of your biggest feedback points from this, and indeed any questions or anything you would like to see in future videos. I love it when people tell me the types of things they want me to discuss or go through in future videos. So if there's anything you're working on personally, you can bet other coaches are as well. So if there's any questions that you have around it, then please drop it below. And if it's a really good question, I'll make a video about it. And other than that, I will, of course, as I mentioned before, we do free ad strategy sessions, no pitch, no pressure. We even let you get off the call when you tell us that you're not interested, or indeed you're interested but you want to think about it on the other side of that call as well. Guess what? We actually let you get off the call. We don't use high pressure sales tactics. Like I said, we lead with value and let people make their own decisions. It's actually a very good strategy for clients that actually want to be a part of your program and stay for a long time. But anyway, that can be the other tangent and bonus bonus from this one. But I'll drop that down below if you want to jump on a call with myself. Or anyway, that cut me off. This has got too hot apparently, so big love. See you on the next video.